Episode 6 of Alone Frozen. We saw our final three get the first little taste of winter. I think everybody found at least a little bit of food. Woniya probably did a little better than the others, but we're seeing all three, like, they're not doing horrible. Like, even though everybody's losing weight, everybody's struggling a bit, they're not doing horribly, and it leaves a little hope that at least somebody's going to make it to the 50 days, because I would really like to see at least somebody cash in on this challenge. So first off, let's start with Callie. We ended last episode with her very ill from eating mussels, and immediately jump into this episode where she is starting to recover and kind of moving past that. Then we started getting a little bit more into Callie's story and life away from Alone. And one thing that's very common on reality TV shows is when you start getting that deep dive into somebody's background, that it usually means that they're about to get kicked off the show. So I immediately started to get worried that Callie was going to tap out. Now, thankfully, that didn't happen, but we did end the episode with her basically saying, hey, if I got food in the traps, I'm going to stay, and if not, I'm out of here. And based on what we saw in the previews, I'm going to lean towards that she is going to tap out, which is a little unfortunate, but that hasn't happened yet, so we'll have to wait and tune in next week. So she says she can't eat the mussels anymore after getting sick, and obviously that is going to make it much harder for Callie just to at least have a baseline of calories to go from day to day. Like, we see Woniya just having this huge hoard of mussels, and then Callie just basically loses access to that same resource, makes her journey even harder. I think we ended day 25-ish, so we're about halfway through the challenge. So she is absolutely going to need a major calorie source if she's going to make it to day 50. Yeah, she does get a squirrel in one of her traps, so she had at least a little bit of food, but nothing major. She ends the episode basically spending the night out under the stars in below freezing temperatures. Not ridiculously cold, but cold enough. Probably cold enough that none of us want to be sleeping under the stars, but she does it. Seems like it gave her a little bit of clarity, and then that's when she made the decision that if there was food in the traps the next day, that she was going to stay, and that's where we ended the episode. Moving on, let's jump over to Woniya. She is mussel hunting. She's been putting a lot of resources into the ocean and cashing in big with the mussels. I really love her strategy of basically gathering up a boatload of mussels, putting them in a little tidal pool that she can come back to later. The mussels will stay alive, and she can basically just come, fill up a pot full of mussels and carry on. The mussel farm looked like it was absolutely loaded, and on top of it, when she goes to collect from the mussel farm, she ends up finding, I think it ended up being like eight or nine sea urchins, which was another resource for her to get some calories from. So it might not be exciting what Woniya's doing, but we've seen people in the past really basically win. I think it was season 4 where we had the two brothers who won, who basically just scavenged the shores until everybody else tapped out. It might not be glamorous, but it can get you to that 50-day marker. It can get you to the win for the season. Woniya, she goes out checking her other traps and thinking to myself, hey, it's pretty close to commercial time, which pretty much guarantees that we're going to have one of those awkward cut to commercials, and then Woniya is going to have something in her trap. Sure enough, we get the, oh my, what could possibly be happening next? Cut to commercial, come back. She's got a hair, and you know, out of the 3 people left, Woniya is by far in the best position. I think that Callie and Michelle both have the capability to make it to day 50, but I think that Woniya is going to absolutely crush it all the way to day 50. And at this point, I would be shocked if she doesn't make it to day 50. You know, maybe an injury or something would take her out, but it seems like she has very solid sources of calories coming in. She's got that stockpile of muscles, and you know, maybe that's not going to last her forever. Even if that only gets her another, say, 10 days, what she kind of has stored up and what she finds in her traps, well, that leaves her what, with 2 weeks left. So she's going to have to struggle it for 2 weeks, which I think Woniya is absolutely capable of doing, especially knowing that the 50-day marker is the finish line. So lastly, we have Michelle. She might have had the best score of the week, and it almost turned into something way better, because she said she saw a pair or possibly even 3 grouse while she was out walking. Shoots one of them. Didn't get a chance to shoot on the other grouse, but that's a big score for her, and another big win for Michelle. And then while she's cooking her grouse, a jay flies in, and she almost takes down a jay as well. That was really about it for Michelle, as it's been all season long. The episodes are primarily Callie and Woniya. I really wish that we did get to see a little bit more from Michelle, because you know, I still think that she's gathering muscles and eating those, and we're not seeing any of that. You know, we're basically just led to believe that, hey, she got that grouse, and that's all that she's had to eat in the past 10 days, and they just throw a little caption on the bottom like, all she's had to eat is mussels and this. But like, show us that she has muscles. I want to know how everyone's doing. I don't want to just be guessing on what Michelle's been eating, what resources she's has at her disposal. Show us. You have the power, you have the footage. Show us what they're doing, and show us everything, because we want to know. So that's going to wrap things up for this episode. It might be a 2-hour finale next week. I'm not 100% sure on that. I did see that on the subreddit that this week that they were playing episodes 5 and 6 because some viewers weren't able to, or they misplayed episode 5 in some locations, and then next week they were playing 7 and 8 to wrap up the season. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't checked for myself, but just be aware that it's a possibility that we could have a 2-hour finale next week, and hopefully crown at least one winner on Alone Frozen. All right, everybody, that is going to wrap things up for me for this week. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'm out.